Okay, welcome to Provender Nurseries. Today the spotlight is on rootball hedging plants. It is that time of year. It is that time of year in October, basically, when all the rootball plants come in. And it's one of the best times to plant evergreen rootball hedging. The choices usually pretty much are Taxus, Buxus and Thujas. One of the reasons you want to plant a rootball plant at this time of year is because these plants are basically field grown. So you get a really good sized plant for a lot less money. So if you look at something like that, it's beautiful, thick, dense, fantastic plant. You can put that in and that's an instant hedge with another one, possibly 1.5 to a metre. So the thing to remember with rootball taxus is that they come in 20 centimetre increments. So it's 1.6 to 1.8, 1.6 to 1.4, 1.4 to 1.2 and so on. But it is actually a really economical way to plant root balls at this time of year. The one thing you really need to look out for when you're actually planting a root ball, this may sound a bit silly, but it's quite a good little hint, is that the root ball is intact. You bear in mind this plant's been growing in the field, it's been dug out, the roots have been trimmed, and then it's been bagged, and then it's travelled. So it's already gone through a lot before it's arrived at the nursery. So a really simple little test is what I call the drop test. So you drop the plant, you look at the bottom, the root ball is still intact. None of the soil has fallen away from the roots. So this actually is a really good, tough little root ball plant. So that will actually grow really well once it's in the soil. One of the questions we get asked quite often about root ball plants is, do we remove this netting? Years and years and years ago, the answer was yes. But nowadays, the answer is no. This is all biodegradable. And as soon as you start to take this off, you actually bear the possibility of disturbing the soil from around the roots, and therefore bear the possibility that you might leave an air pocket in the roots, which would have a bearing on how the plant gets watered. So actually, you plant this in and you leave everything alone. So you don't need to remove this at all. One of the main things to do is to actually, with an evergreen hedge when you're planting at this time of year, is to use something called mycorrhizal fungi. Now this is a great little thing. It attaches itself to the roots of the plant and actually increases the root area. How this works basically is because it increases the root area, it allows the plant to take up a lot more water and a lot more nutrients. And if you're planting something like a hedge, you don't really want any of the plants to die. So these are your root ball taxus. As you can see, lovely, thick, good, strong plants. So best time of year to plant a root ball really is now, all the way through until sort of February, March. Another root ball evergreen hedging option is Thuja. There are two Thujas that are really available for a decent hedging. There's Thuja plicata atravirens and there's this variety, Thuja plicata Martin. Martin is slightly more upright than atravirens and slightly denser in the foliage cover. But to be fair, atravirens is just as good a plant as well. The good thing about a Thuja is it's a lot it's a lot slower to grow than a Leylandii. It doesn't get to anywhere near as big and it is actually more manageable. With any kind of evergreen hedge, the main thing to do and the main thing to remember is that they do need regular pruning once or twice a year to keep them in shape. And if you can do that with them when they're young plants, it becomes a much, much easier plant to manage when they actually get up into maturity. And the easiest way to tell a Thuja apart from any other conifer is to give it a good old rattle around with your fingers and you rub it between your palms and you get this really lovely, slightly pineapple-y scent. So it's actually really easy to tell if an existing hedge is a Thuja. Good plant, really, really, really good value for money, especially if you've got quite a long hedging place to do. So we're talking about options in evergreen hedging in the root balls. One of the most popular plants, again, is the Buxus sempervirens or plain good old box. Again, field grown, so you get a good, dense plant for your money. You have to bear in mind these actually are quite heavy plants because they are field grown. They're usually grown in quite heavy soil conditions. So again, this is something where we would do the drop test. So you drop, root ball stays intact, there's not a lot of soil coming out, if any at all. So it's a really good and, as I say, very economical way of planting Buxus at this time of year. If you wanted to actually set up or plant up a mature hedge, you can see by planting two or three of these in a row, you've pretty much got a good metre of a good mature hedge already started. So it really is a good time of year to actually plant this sort of thing. If you put them in now, trim them all into shape, then next year you're going to have a really, really, really good hedge. A couple of sizes available, 2040s and the 5060s. So again, good sized plants, chop the top off of that, and you've got an absolutely fantastic mature box to start with.